Hello guys, we are back with the concept of relative gain array, which will help us in proper selection of loops in case of MIMO, that is multiple input and multiple output systems, where we have good amount of interaction between the two loops, or in case we have more than two loops. This is to be done in a manner which has to be very clear and well defined, and in the way it's mostly presented in the books, students often get confused. Some of the teachers also are equally confused. But today, if you will listen to whatsoever I present over in a very mindful manner, you will find this all as a piece of cake, as simple as that. Friends, we take in this case first an open loop static gain between y1 and m1. So we just have a look at the figure once again. This is m1. The effect of this m1 on y1, when we do not make any change in the M2, second manipulated M2, what do we see? This is the direct effect only. At, if you recall, we had one direct effect and then there was one indirect effect which we will be discussing in case the second loop is closed. We will be coming to that, but right now the second loop is not closed. In this point m2 is constant, so what we have over here is that m1 is directly linked with y1, and in that case when m2 is constant, whatsoever is the gain, that gain represents only the direct gain. So this is represented mathematically. This is represented as delta y by delta m1 when m2 is constant. This is very important. M2 is very constant as such. So this represents the direct effect of the manipulated variable on the controlled output. So let us see what is the next case. In the next case, as you can see, what we have done is that instead of keeping m2 constant, we have made y2 constant. And as this y2 is constant, because any change in m1 is going to have some effect on y1 directly, plus, that is, in addition to that, this m1 is also going to disturb y2. And since this y2 is to be kept constant, let us say this y2 is decreased or increased. Because of that, the controller acts upon to bring y2 back to its position. So this is going to change the value of m2, and the m2 in turn is going to have something contributed to y1. So here you will have one direct effect plus another through this route, going from here, as we had discussed in the last session also, from here to here, and then coming back from controller to this point, and we come to this point, and this also adds up to this y1. So you have both direct and indirect effect that is visible over here. So this is, say, we say it's an open loop static gain between y1 and m1, where y2 is kept constant. Earlier it was m2 which was kept constant. Now it is y2 which is kept constant. And this is mathematically represented by this expression where you have delta y1 upon delta m1, where y2 is kept constant. And dear friends, as we have already told you, that this represents the direct effect plus the indirect effect. So we can call it as D plus I. of the manipulated variable on the controlled output. And this indirect effect, it comes only because of interaction. If you do not have interaction, then the indirect effect will not come. This indirect effect is on account of the interaction. Higher the interaction, more will be the indirect effect. So this is to be kept in mind, that interaction gives us indirect effect. Now, once we think in terms of direct effect and indirect effect, we will come to another mathematical expression as we see in the next slide. What we do is that we take the ratio of these two gains. The first gain was when M2 was kept constant, which was giving me only the direct gain. And the second was when y2 was kept constant. It was when we were getting both direct and indirect gain. So what we do is we take the relative gain. A relative gain means I take the ratio of these two gains. So you can see you have a ratio of this gain divided by this gain, and this is called a relative gain lambda 1 1. Why 1 1? Because the manipulated variable considered is 1 and the output is also 1. Therefore, we take the relative gain as lambda 1 1, and this is the mathematical expression for this. Now, just to understand, I told you that this gain this gain was primarily for the direct effect, and the second gain was for direct plus indirect effect, and this indirect effect was on account of interaction. So friends, this is the only thing to be understood in this particular section. Once this thing is clear, that more is interaction, more is the indirect effect, and this indirect effect is getting added to the direct effect in the denominator, and that gives me the relative gain. So once this concept is clear, which is often not mentioned so explicitly in most of the books, if this concept is clear, then you know looking at the relative gain, we will be able to come to the conclusion whether the loop to be selected is appropriate or not, or how to select the loops in case of MIMOs, that is multiple input multiple output systems. Now let us see. I take the first case when there is no interaction at all. If there is no interaction at all, then there will not be any indirect effect. Alright, so this indirect effect will be 0. Relative gain in that case will be what? Direct effect divided by direct effect. This indirect effect is not there, and therefore you can see this relative gain will be equal to 1. Or in other words, you can say that in case relative gain is 1, it means there is no indirect effect, and from there we can conclude that there is no interaction between the two loops. The upper loop is behaving the way it should behave, it is not affecting the lower loop, and vice versa. The second case is that suppose there is some interaction, and because there is some interaction, this interaction will act as in the indirect effect also. In the indirect effect also, and let us say it is in the same direction as the direct effect. So if direct effect is taken as positive, indirect effect is also positive because it is also acting in the same direction as the direct effect. So what we will have, we have direct effect in the numerator and direct plus indirect effect in the denominator. More is the interaction, more is the indirect effect, more is the denominator as compared to the numerator, and therefore a relative gain will be less than 1. So the moment we say relative gain is less than 1, it indicates number 1 there is interaction, number 2 the interaction is in the same direction as that of the direct effect. We come to the third case where the indirect effect is weaker, but it is in the opposite direction. It is weaker. It is weaker than the direct effect. So this denominator still remains positive, but it is lesser as compared to the direct effect. The denominator is less because the indirect effect is reducing the value of direct plus indirect. The two are in opposite direction. So the denominator is less as compared to numerator. It means what? It means that relative gain is more than 1. Contrary to this, or you can say inversely, in case the relative gain is more than 1, it means that the interaction is taking place in the direction which is opposite to the desired direct effect, and it is slightly lesser than the direct effect. And the worst case is that the indirect effect, this indirect effect, is very strong as compared to direct. It is stronger and is it in the opposite direction. So if you add something negative to something which is positive and the negative thing is more than positive, the sum of two will be negative. It means that this ratio will become negative. Negative means that the interaction is producing the results which is stronger and opposite to the desired effect. It means you want to increase something, it will actually get decreased. You want to decrease something, it will actually get increased. It means that ultimately you will end up in having a kind of unstable system, which we do not want. So this is what is happening, that the indirect effect is stronger and in the opposite direction as compared to the direct effect, the relative gain will be negative. Or conversely, you can say that in case the relative gain is negative, it means that the interaction is having indirect effect which is stronger and opposite to the direct effect. So friends, this was the crux of whole thing. We can continue with this point, or you can pause and take a break over here. It is up to you, and then we come to the next portion. So we analyze the things in a manner that, suppose this relative gain is equal to 0. 0 means you don't have any direct effect. We don't have any direct effect means what? Whatsoever may be m1, I'm not getting anything in terms of y1. There is no direct effect. So in that case, using m1 to control y1 is meaningless. This is the significance of relative gain being equal to 0. Just the extreme opposite of that is that this relative gain is equal to 1. It means that whatsoever is m2, it is not affecting y1. There is no indirect effect. There is no indirect effect. And therefore, all we have is the direct effect. And in that case, we say the two loops are totally decoupled. There is no interaction whatsoever between the upper loop and the lower loop. This is the ideal condition. This is not MIMO at all. This is just a couple of two seesaws. It's a very happy scene actually, and it's not actually there, but if it happens by chance or by design, then it's something very good. Now, most of the times what we have is that this relative gain is neither 1 nor 0, but is hanging somewhere in between 0 and 1. It means that interaction exists, it is there. Smaller is the value of this relative gain, larger is the interaction, as we had discussed previously. And finally, in case this relative gain is less than 0, it means that the interaction is very strong and the indirect effect is in the opposite direction, and that kind of interaction is very dangerous. Again, we had taken this thing into account in our previous discussion, we conclude here that once we know the relative gain, just looking at the relative gain, we will be able to, you know, choose the right kind of loop. Which manipulated variable is to be coupled with or is to be used to control which controlled output, that becomes quite an easy task for us, as we will be seeing in the following section. Friends, we had so far been limiting our discussion to lambda 1 1. Just the way we have lambda 1 1, we have lambda 1 2. Lambda 1 2 means in case you want to control y1 using m2, using m2. In first case, you will take m1 as constant. In second case, you will take y2 as constant. Because we are taking output as 1 and input as 2, so it always output is first and input is later. So we are using the same notation, and therefore we call it as this lambda 1 2 for output 1 and input 2. Similarly, if output is 2 and input is 1, it will be called lambda 2 1. And in case output is 2 and input is 2, we will be calling it as lambda 2 2. That is the relative gain between y2 and m2. So friends, we have lambda 1 1, lambda 1 2, lambda 2 1, lambda 2 2. So in a way, we have a kind of array, and this array is called a relative gain array. So as you can see, you can choose any one over here. For example, if you choose lambda 1 2, so lambda 1 2 means that the output is y1 and the input is m2. So this is the relative gain when we choose this as delta y1 divided by delta m2, and this can be seen from here also. It's delta y1 by delta m2. In first case, the other manipulated variable is kept constant, and in the denominator the other output is kept constant. So this is what we are going to do over here. But then friends, there is some very interesting property of this relative gain array, and that is that sum of all the rows and sum of all the columns is always equal to 1. This is what it is. Sum of all the rows, for example, you have this row, you have this row, sum of this row, and then sum of this row, and then sum of this column, and then finally sum of this column. All these sums are always equal to 1. So it means that if you know one element, the remaining four elements can easily be computed. For example, if this element happens to be 0.25, 0.25, sum of this and this is 1, so this will be 0.75, 0.75. Sum of this and this is 1, so this is 0.25, this will be 0.75, and this will again be 0.25, this will again be 0.25. And we also come to this conclusion that these two will always be equal. The diagonal elements are always equal. This is 0.25, this is 0.25, this is 0.75, this is 0.75. So the diagonal elements are always equal. So this is second property of the relative gain array, which is also sometimes called RGA. Friends, now we see about the selection of loops. The first case, I say lambda 1 1 is equal to 1. Very good, wonderful. In that case, the RGA will look like this, and we can have simply two non-interacting loops, and in that case we will be coupling m1 with y1 and m2 with y2. It makes perfect sense because this m1 is controlling y1 and this m2 is controlling y2. That is a very happy scene which we would all like to see. In case this lambda 1 1 is equal to 0. In that case, the RGA will look like this. And here again we have two non-interacting loops, but with the condition that now instead of using this element, we are using this element as 1. This element as 1 is means that we will be using M2 to control Y1, and this element as 1 is it means that we will be controlling M1 to control Y2, but otherwise there is no interaction between the two. So this is how we are going to select the loops. Like we have these kind of two non-interacting happy loops, and we'll be coupling M1 with Y2 and M2 with Y1. I will be too glad to have this kind of memo. Actually, it is also not a memo. It is again a couple of CISO only. The issue comes when this lambda 1 1 happens to be 0.5. So you can very well guess the relative gain array will be 0.5. It means that the direct effect and the indirect effect are exactly equal and in the same sense. So what do we do in this case? It's very difficult. It makes no difference whether I choose M1 to control Y2 or I choose M2 to control Y2, because everything is having so strong interaction that we have a very difficult position of how to control. This is a very tricky situation, and this is the point, as we will be seeing in the next session, we will have to design some kind of decoupling mechanism. We will have to design some kind of cross controllers in which we have to bring these lambdas nearer to 1. See, if it is 1 or zero point 0.8, it is okay. If it is 0 or zero point 0.2, even then it is okay. But the moment it becomes zero point 0.5, this is perhaps the worst case. The interaction is so strong that the control will become very, very difficult until or unless this interaction is reduced. This coupling is reduced by making use of some decoupling mechanism or by making use of some cross controllers, as we will see in the subsequent sessions. So what we see over here, interaction is very strong and in the same direction, and whatsoever may be the configuration, it's not going to make any difference to us at all. So whether we couple M1 with Y2 or M1 with Y1, it makes no difference at all. So it's going to produce the same results, and we have to go in for some kind of cross controllers to reduce this coupling. Now, what if this lambda is nearer to 0? As it seems, let us say the output is 0.25. The relative gain array will look something like this. In this case, we see that this element is stronger, it is nearer to 1, and so is this case. So in that case, if I choose M2 to control Y1 and I choose M1 to control Y2, we will still have good amount of control. The interaction between the two loops is there, it is in the same direction, and this is what we are going to do is we are going to couple M1 with Y2 and M2 with Y1. We will not have much issues in this case as well. So friends, the real trouble starts when this relative gain happens to be more than 1. And I told you that this relative gain being more than 1 means that we have an indirect effect which is stronger and in the negative sense as compared to the direct effect. And therefore, we are going to have lots and lots and lots of issues over here. For example, what kind of issues are going to be there? Let us see one by one. I told you that the diagonal elements are equal. So if lambda 1 1 is greater than 1, in that case lambda 2 2 will also be greater than 1. And the sum of the rows and the columns is all equal to 1. So what will happen to lambda 1 2 and lambda 2 1? Both of these lambda 1 2 and lambda 2 1 are to be subtracted from 1. So both of these values will be negative. Both of these two values being negative have a very serious implication as such. But still, we can somehow manage the situation if we are choosing the loops in a proper manner, because that's what we are all talking about, selection of the loops. We have to be very very careful whenever the lambdas they go outside the range of 0 to 1. That is, either the lambda is more than 1 or the lambda is less than 0. We have to be very very careful, because these can create very difficult control problems. And again, the solution is decouple. Somehow decouple, right? Until or unless you do not reduce the interaction, it will be difficult for us. Let us see how it is going to be difficult. Let us logically analyze this difficulty over here before we going for anything else. Suppose I couple y1 with m1 and I couple y2 with m2. It means I'm taking lambda 1 1 which is greater than 1, and I'm also taking lambda 2 2 which is again greater than 1. Greater than 1 means, as I told you, that the interaction is weaker, the indirect effect is negative, is in the opposite direction, but somehow gracefully it is lesser than the direct effect. So in that case, what will be helped is that whatsoever is the direct effect, the indirect effect is going to hold it back. Hold it back means it is going to bring its value down. It means that whatsoever I'm trying to do, whatsoever I'm trying to achieve by the direct effect, the indirect effect is going to bring it back, and therefore I have to do it with greater effort. Greater effort means I have to apply more gain. So this is the control issue with it, that once these relative gains are larger than 1, then in both the cases, whether I take coupling of 1 with 1 or I take coupling of 2 with 2, in both the cases what we see is that the indirect effect is actually negative, and the denominator therefore is getting reduced as compared to numerator, and that is having what we call it as holding back effect. And this holding back effect is going to create issues. We have to go in for the larger gains, and these larger gains, as I always have been telling you, that having larger gain can always lead to a kind of instability in the system. So we have to be very very sure that the gains required are not more than what we call it as an ultimate gain, that is the maximum gain up to which the system remains stable. So this is one big issue. The second thing is that someone may say, all right, I will, instead of coupling y1 with m1, I may couple y1 with m2 and I may couple y2 with m1. What will happen in that case? In that case, you see, if I couple y1 with m2 and y2 with m1, so I'll be using lambda 1 2 and lambda 2 1, which both are negative. So let us see what's going to happen in that case. So we are coupling y1 with m2 and y2 with m1, and both these relative gains are negative. And as we had discussed earlier also, negative relative gain means that the indirect effect is stronger than the direct effect, and in the opposite direction. Means I want to increase something on account of direct effect, but on account of indirect effect, the net effect is that instead of increasing the controlled output actually gets decreased. Just the converse of that, I want to decrease the output, I apply some action on it, and because of the indirect effect, the output actually is getting increased instead of getting decreased. So this is something very very dangerous. The system is bound to be it's bound to be unstable. Negative gains will result in a kind of unstable system for sure, definitely, for sure. So this opposite direction of the indirect effect on account of interaction is going to destabilize the whole process. So the rule of the thumb is never form loops by coupling inputs to outputs with negative relative gains. The gains have to be positive. The gains have to be as close to the unity factor as possible. 1 is ideal, zero point 0.9 will do, zero point 0.8 will do, 0 is ideal, zero point 0.1 will do, zero point 0.2 will do, zero point 0.5 is a confused mess. Don't go in for those kind of loops, and don't go in for any kind of loop with negative gain like minus zero point 0.1 or minus zero point 0.2. Even 1.1 will do, 1.2 will do. Only thing is you have to go in for higher gains somehow if they can be managed. Somehow if they can be managed, they can be still be played upon with. But negative gains are strict no no. Try to avoid positive gains with value greater than 1. Best is as close to 1 as possible. So this is the final conclusion of this entire interaction with you and the interaction of the loops within a system of MIMO, that is multiple input and multiple output. So keeping this in mind, we will be doing the selection of loops, and wheresoever we cannot simply select the loops, like in case we had zero point 0.5, zero point 0.5, zero point 0.5, we had too much of interaction, and then in that case we will be going in for some sort of cross controllers which are going to decouple the two loops so that the interaction becomes smaller, and these lambdas somehow can be chosen to be near to 1 and preferably lesser than 1. So that was about the selection of loops making use of RGA, that is relative gain array. Hope you have understood the concept. You can watch this video twice or thrice or as many times as you feel like. In case you have any query, in case you have any doubt, you can contact me through phone, through WhatsApp, through Zooms, through Google Meet, through WebEx, anything you feel like. I have so many means with us these days to interact, if not face to face sometimes, and you want to share something with me, you're most welcome. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture as well. I thank you for being with me once again, and I wish you a very safe stay. Bye bye, guys.